What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mountain Witch Tarot channel. I am your host, Sarah, and today we are talking about something really strange and interesting. Before we get started, though, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It really helps my channel out, and it lets me know that you enjoy this type of content. So, I think it was today, or no, it was yesterday, the 29th. Oh my gosh, I am out of the loop, y'all. Okay, so on the 29th, Reuters, I'm just, you know what? I can't say rural either. It's my Kentucky accent. We're just going to call it Reuters. Y'all can make fun of me in the comments if you want to. They posted an article, and I'm going to link it in the description. Peru shaman foretells illness for Trump and Maduro's exile in 2026. So this is so interesting to me. I love stuff like this, esoteric stuff, occult stuff, predictions, shamans. I love shamans. So I had to jump on this really quick. And basically, so what's going on here is, I'm just going to read to you. Shamans in Peru gathered for an annual New Year's ritual on Monday, where they made predictions for the year to come, including illness for U.S. President Donald Trump and the downfall of Venezuelan counterpart Nicolas Maduro. The United States should prepare itself because Donald Trump will fall seriously ill, the shaman proclaimed as he gathered with other shamans on a beach in southern Lima, wearing colorful ponchos and sprinkling flowers on the sand. So, again, I will link this article. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out and read the rest of it. Now, from the quick Google searches I've done, it seems like sometimes they get them spot on, the predictions. Sometimes they're a little off. So, we don't know. We're just going to follow the shaman's lead. We're going to tap into the energy that he tapped into in order to make this prediction. And we're going to see if we can get a solid read on Donald Trump's health and whether or not this might be true. So let's go ahead and start our spread. We are starting off with the lily at the center. So I think we're tapped in because the lily, can indicate old age, health, vitality, things like that. And we're going to build from the center out. Starting with the center energy is a good indicator here that we are on track with his health. We have the sun, which could be powering or illuminating. We'll have to get more context. And then we have the administration coming out. And then over here we have the fox card. And this is all on top of the coffin card. So I think the most important cards here right now is the fox and the lily. And I'm getting the feeling that Donald Trump is trying his best to keep up with the administration. He's got a lot of young, vibrant people who are just brimming with hostility and hatred, and it motivates them every day to get up and be energetic, and he wants to be like that. He misses those days, and I'm getting a big vibe here with the sun and the lily of looking back in time and reminiscing about days long past. So kind of getting a big energy here, but then we've got the coffin beneath all this, which is just a full-on stop to all this energy. So let's pull a few more cards and see where it takes us. Now we've got the garden and the bear on the table. And I think that this is more reference to all of this energy that's around him, the people gathering around him. He's doing his best to keep up with them and to never show weakness. He doesn't want these people to see him as weak or, as old and slowing down. I think he has a real problem with that. He wants to see himself as still in his prime. And so it's really difficult being around these younger people, especially like I think JD and Stephen Miller and Caroline Levitt, they're all like in their 20s and 30s and maybe very early 40s. And it's just a lot for him to have to deal with when he's got such a chip on his shoulder about his age and where he's at mentally and physically. And he's just really struggling, which, listen, I can relate. It sucks getting older, but also it's kind of a gift, So, but that's definitely what's coming through here. Now we pull one more card for the bottom line, which is the bear card. And it's right next to the coffin. So the bear, of course, is going to emphasize things, make things bigger, more intimidating, more power behind it. Let's go ahead and get 2 more cards and finish this portrait and see what we can get. This one. Yeah, more reinforcement of the diminishing sensation that goes along with the thought of the days gone by and the people surrounding him. There's a big diminishing feeling in a lot of his daily routine because, again, surrounded by younger people who have more energy and more vitality than him, and it's a struggle. He doesn't like it. One more card for this 9-card portrait, and then we'll build out. Wow. Okay, so there's transition here. Big transition. This is the first time that I have ever got a divination message that really, truly looked like Trump facing his mortality. And because our intentions for this are focusing on the prediction made by the Peruvian shaman, I feel like there's double energy here that confirms that the shaman's prediction may very well be on point this year. So we have the stork, the coffin, and the bear, and this is just simply put a big transition. Now, does this mean that Trump is going to crawl into this forever box? No. Not necessarily. It could. It's very likely. But what it does mean is that he is coming to a full stop moment in a big way. This is, these 2 cards together is a big stop. And this is transition. So he definitely is at the point where it's not certain that he can keep up anymore. And, with this cluster up here and then with the mice, this is diminished. All of these times past where he had vitality and strength and endurance that he misses these things so much. This is like he craves it, and it probably even makes him angry that those times are gone because of his poor health and the condition he's in right now. And with the fox here, there's this sense of jealousy of the people around him, the people that are surrounding him. And I think, he knows that it is getting to a point where he probably wonders, I don't know if I can keep doing this. He's probably questioning himself at this point and thinking that he can just walk it off, so to speak. Let's pull a few more cards and see if we can expand this 9-card portrait. Now down here, we've pulled the heart card. I think we could interpret this several different ways. So one is literal. We could say literally, his heart is literally in bad shape and he is aware of it. So all the things, the transitioning to a big stopping point here is maybe possibly associated with his heart. We could also say that because the heart card is here, that this is a deeply emotional situation that he is struggling with. Up here we have the dog, and I think that this changes what we saw right here just a slight bit. It tunes it just a little because I think the people around him are playing along. They're so loyal to him and, they want to kind of like stay on his good side and keep him motivated. So they're playing along with this, I'm still tough guy. I'm still Donald Trump, this and that, whatever. And that's kind of like the energy that I'm getting here. Let's go ahead and get 2 more cards. So I think with the introduction of the ring card here, this is probably a good indicator that he's feeling like, but I have so much left to do. I have all these things that are so important to me that I finish because right from the very beginning, all of the spreads that I've done all the way back at the beginning of the year, mentioned how Trump wanted to leave a legacy. He wanted to leave his mark, because one of my biggest questions from a political standpoint, not necessarily just divination, was what is Trump's main goal here? Like, everybody has to have a motive. And the cards would then often tell me that he wanted to leave a legacy. He wanted to be remembered for something. And it's funny, saying that out loud kind of makes you think, for most people in most circumstances, you want to do good for the world. You want people to remember you fondly or kindly, or, say, wow, what a great person so-and-so was. But it was so odd how Trump, his approach to it was to do just crazy, over-the-top stuff. It's like he's incapable of looking at a situation and saying, okay, I want to leave my mark. How do I make this the best for everybody? He's incapable of injecting that humanity into that thought process. So to him, leaving his mark on the world and leaving a legacy meant doing the loudest, craziest, most over-the-top things, no matter who it hurt, no matter how selfish or cruel. And it just, gives you insight into what is going on in his head and how skewed his view of the world is, which is just so infinitely strange to me. But I don't want to go off on too much of an off-ramp to nowhere here. We do have the whip card coming in next to the mice, which I find really interesting, because I feel like this is a continual cycle of struggling and fighting to basically stay upright. I think if we could see or be a fly on the wall right now, we would see him struggling so bad physically and subsequently emotionally. We know he's struggling mentally. He shows us that every day when he speaks, when he tries to do his job, if you can even call it that. We see him struggle in those ways, but what we don't see is what he's hiding behind closed doors, which is him having all of this physical trouble of motivating and literally, his locomotion forward. Like, he's just struggling so bad. That's the sensation I get here. But he doesn't want to show it. He doesn't want anybody to know, just like a wounded animal. He wants to go and hide and lick his wounds, and nobody knows that he's injured. Big energy of that coming in. Let's get 2 more cards. And we have confirmation of the struggle behind closed doors. So here's our confirmation for that. And here is not only confirmation for the energy that we have over here, but also for the stagnation of his health and how it is basically a giant roadblock in the way. And everybody sees it, everybody knows, but everybody's trying to kind of rally around him and be loyal to him and hype him up and inspire him to keep going. And it's just, it's as obvious as this big tree in the middle of an open field. It's, you can't not see it. They all see it. They all know. I think they're probably pretty nervous about it, honestly. I mean, they would have to be. JD's probably not. JD's probably ready and raring to go to get into that position. So, but that's another reading for another time. I think, we've got that a few times in the cards, but as far as the loyalists, and we have, the reference to the loyalists in the administration here, I always see them in these readings clustering together away from Donald Trump. And it's almost like they're always having to put their heads together and stay in constant contact with each other to kind of figure out, okay, how do we prop up this weekend at Bernie's president that we have and make him appear strong and, like he's capable and confident. And in the meantime, maybe some of them are seeing these physical struggles. I would say that he probably hides it from them as well. But, there's no way that after all this time that they haven't seen the physical struggles. I really feel like there's probably tantrums attached to this too, because we do have the whip card, and the whip card often brings the energy of like fighting and, you know, shouting and arguing and just being kind of, you know, combative in general. And I think it's also interesting too that if you look at this block of cards, we do have, with the combined energy of all 6 of these, we have a reference to dimension. Now, the only card that I would like to have seen here somewhere to really confirm this is the moon, because with the sun and the moon, you know, you get the cycles of day and night, and that's kind of you know, a prominent marker when someone like an elderly person is struggling with these types of illnesses, is the cycles that change through the day and the night. And we do have like a reference to cycles over here. It's a little farther away, you know, but we still have, this reference to something going on inside, something possibly age-related, something that is kind of coming and going in the night, or, you know, you never know when it's going to show up. It rears its head at strange times. It is a loss of something, a loss of clarity, and it returns. It comes back over and over, and it's impossible to really kind of, you know, overlook it. So we do have a reference to that here. So for a health reading, this is pretty descriptive. And I don't normally get these types of answers when I do Trump health readings, but it's interesting here that Trump didn't come out. There's no significator for himself here, which fine, you know, we're reading from his perspective as if we're him, or if we're giving him the reading. So from his view, this is how things look. And it definitely seems significantly worse to me than any health reading I've attempted to do for him for a long time. So I would say that Peruvian shaman, he may be on to something. He may be barking up exactly the right tree. I don't know how they get their messages or their predictions. I don't know, you know, what type of metaphysical experience that they have to be able to connect to these energies, but these energies are out there. And if you focus on them, you can connect to them and get the answers from the universe. And I think we have confirmation here that what the prediction states may very well be spot on. Now, as far as timing goes, I can't tell you that. I don't know. I don't think that the shaman mentioned timing. I don't think he said like January or anything like that. But, you know, we have these recent developments where both of Donald Trump's hands now are showing signs of bruising and like IV injections and stuff like that. And not a good sign. I mean, can't possibly be a good indicator for Donald Trump's health. Definitely doesn't seem like he's getting any better. That one hand that first started to bruise and look really, you know, irritated and agitated, that one has never gotten any better. And now the other one is starting to kind of go the same way. So let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to click the like button on this video if you enjoyed it. It lets me know that you like this type of content. It really helps my channel out. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.